We're back here on the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show. We have so much to talk about. I want to just keep moving now. There is an event coming up on the 11th of February. It's actually called, somewhere I have it here, the Afro-American Memorabilia Cultural Show and Sale. It's going to be on the 11th of February at the Teamster Local Union Hall. That's in Lawrenceville, right on Butler Street. What time is the event?
It's 6 until 10.
And how much is it?
It's $10 to get in. And we still have a few tables available for dealers, but they should call real fast or get a hold of me real fast because we're getting pretty much booked up.
Running tight. And so there will be, it's a show, it's a sale. There will be items for sale there.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
There's going to be a lot of things for sale. There's going to be a few things that are just going to be exhibits. That, I think there's going to be an exhibit on Woogie Harris.
Okay.
A few important Pittsburgh
The
things.
Pittsburgh history.
Yes, we were trying to get an exhibit from the county of some of their documents, but they weren't able to put it together yet.
Okay, all right. But you never know. There's still a little
We never
time.
know yet, you know.
Maybe give that street address for that, because people won't know where that Union Hall is.
Oh, right on Butler Street, 4701 Butler Street. So yeah, it's right there in the heart. It's actually very close to the entrance of Allegheny
Yes,
Cemetery.
it's right by the cemetery,
Right
yes.
across the street from there. Okay, and we'll make sure we give that again, Larry. Thanks for pointing that out. Now talk to me about, I mean, this Jesse Jackson for president, 1988. You know, for a lot of, I don't want to say Gen Xers, but in their mind, Barack Obama was the first African-American presidential run.
Yeah, and Jesse Jackson was there, and he was a very important candidate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so that's a button from his campaign?
That's a button from his campaign. I just brought different samples of different things, so this is just one thing I just happened to bring, and yeah, it's not very old, but it's pretty interesting.
Well, is it? Yeah, okay. And now talk to me about these matches, this match
Well,
book.
this is just the kind of graphics that were used in just advertising. It wasn't a particularly racist thing or anything like that. It was just it's a nice graphic of a black man that perception of like a cook or something like that that would be used in all different kinds of things.
And Larry, you know, what comes to my mind is as I look at these things, probably most of us have some memorabilia in our own home, in our attic, in the basement, that we never even processed that it was significant to documenting our history.
That's right. Until people think about it as part of the history of something significant in terms of their family, in terms of the larger black history or American history, they don't really see the value of this. And one of the great things about this show is it will showcase it and bring it out in a way that will make people stand up and realize, hey, these are interesting, these are important, these tell us about our past, they're valuable, we need to talk about them, need to get the story behind them, who collected it, who bought it, who saved it, what did it mean to grandma or grandpa when they did this. So it brings back, it's a way for people to connect with their past, with their family, with their community, neighborhood, all that.
And so often when you string it together, you realize there's a story there.
Absolutely.
I want to take a look. We have some pictures that you sent me before we actually taped the show. I want to talk about those for a little. Let's talk about this one first.
Well, that's a program from an event Elijah Muhammad was at, and it has his picture on it.
And do we have any idea when that was from? Because that's a young Elijah Muhammad.
I think that was like 1962.
Okay, all right, so not that old. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Now,
That's the title page of the first edition of Diary of a Slave Girl, which has now become a major book that's been used in many universities for almost the textbook for what slavery was in history.
so help me out, Larry. Are you familiar with this book?
Yes, oh yes.
This was actually written by a young girl while in slavery.
Yes, we have, that's one of the unique things about blacks in the United States. We have hundreds of writings by black people who had been slaves who told their story firsthand. We're the only group in the world that has that. You know, Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, these places, people didn't write. But in the United States, blacks started with, Frederick Douglass was the first really big one, his autobiography. But it started a trend then of people telling their story of what life was like under slavery.
Wow.
So this is firsthand testimony.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we talk about writings. Now, the next thing we have is a picture of what you called a trade
A trade card.
A trade card, okay.
They were used for advertising, 1870s through the turn of the century. And you would go into a store and they would give them out to kids, and the people would make scrapbooks and all kinds of things with all different kinds of trade cards. This one.
So is this like a baseball trading card, only it's a business trading card?
Yes,
okay.
exactly. And this one was put out by Singer sewing machines.
Huh.
As you see, there's a sewing machine on it.
So people collected these?
Yes, and there were ones for all different kinds of countries and different places, and there's hundreds of different put out by Singer Sewing Machine Company, put out hundreds of different ones. But this one,
there is a sewing machine.
yes, there's a sewing machine in it. And
The scary thing is that looks like a sewing machine my grandmother had at one time. When is this? Do you know what era this is from?
that one's, I think, 1890s.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the one she had, but almost. And then we have one other picture I want to take a look at.
Okay.
And this goes back to documenting our history in the armed services.
This is a World War II soldier, Army Air Corps, but not a Tuskegee Airman.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a mechanic, or maybe an air crew, ground crew, something like, probably ground crew actually, more than air crew. But everybody served in all different kinds of units, very few combat units. That's why the Tuskegee Airmen are really famous, because they were one of the few combat units that black men could be in and during the war.
Involved in. Larry, as we wrap this all up, tell me why it's important for folks to come out and just see this collectible show.
Well, it's really valuable because so many museums, black museums I've been to, you get there and you're kind of disappointed. There's sort of empty spaces. There's not a lot of stuff, not a lot of things to see, feel, and touch. They're sort of the museum in Philadelphia, the Afro-American Museum in Philadelphia is like that. It's used more as a gathering place.
Yeah, I've been there.
But okay. But when you look around for the items that let people, that tie them into the history, there's a shortage of it, and it's so valuable that Baruch and others have really saved these, preserved these items for us, and it's important that people see these so that they can save their own items, go up in their own attics. Don't throw these. He saved a lot of things that have been thrown away.
Right.
Woogie Harris's house, they just thrown out a lot of things, and fortunately, Baruch went there in the trash can.
Pittsburgh history, absolutely.
Dumped in there and pulled out a lot of valuable pieces.
Now, much of this will be available for show, some for sale. Give us the date again.
It'll be February 11th, Sunday night, 6 until 10.
Okay, and it's at the
Teamsters Hall.
Teamsters Hall, and that's 4701 Butler. How much does it cost?
$10 to get in.
And you have a website as well, correct? Folks can get more information about all of this.
Yes, it's a Facebook page.
Oh, okay. So not crownantiques.com.
Well, you could also come to our website, Crown Antiques.
And you're on Facebook.
Yes, we have Facebook.
Awesome. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Fascinating information. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a controversy in the community. So don't go away when the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show continues.